Hello everyone and happy Valentine's Day. Today I'm going to be doing the Anti-Valentines Day tag. This tag was created by Isabella Books and I will leave a link to her video in the description box below. Now before I start this tag, I just want to say that I don't hate Valentine's Day. I just don't particularly love it or see its actual purpose. Even when I was dating someone, I never really saw the purpose of celebrating Valentine's Day because it's like the day is for showing the person you love how much you love them, and to me it's like that shouldn't just be one day out of the year, that should be every single day. So I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. Even given my feelings about Valentine's Day, I still wanted to do a Valentine's themed video for today. And then I came across this tag, and like I said, I don't hate Valentine's Day, so I was a little skeptical about this tag because I was like, are the questions going to be all about hating the holiday and hating romance and stuff like that? But it's not. They were actually really tame compared to what I was thinking they were going to be. So without further ado, let's just jump right into this tag. Number 1 is hating on all romantic stuff. Pick a no romance or a light romance book. And let's be honest, that's kind of hard to do because pretty much every book out there you read has some romantic aspect in it. But strangely enough, I was able to think of 3 series right off the bat that were very light on the romance. First one, of course, being the Harry Potter series, because the first 5 books of that series are very like no romance or light romance, and then it's like you get to the 6th and 7th book and that's when hormones start to kick in. Then you also have the Maze Runner series that no matter how much I ship Newt and Thomas together, it's not canon, it's never gonna happen, especially after the death cure. So, I'm still very, very salty about that. But, moving on. And the third one that came right to my mind is the Percy Jackson series, because I can't remember if it's the 4th or 5th book in this series where Annabeth and Percy finally get their act together. I'm pretty sure it's the 4th book. But regardless, this series is mainly no romance up until like the 4th book. And then it's just light romance from there. Number 2 is throwing ex-boyfriend or girlfriend memorabilia into the bonfire. Which books would you throw into the fire? Let me start off by saying that I would never actually throw a book in a fire no matter how much I hated it. I would actually not even throw any ex-boyfriend or girlfriend memorabilia into the fire. I mean, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to have any memorabilia from an ex-boyfriend. But if I did, I wouldn't throw it in fire. But if I did have to throw books into a fire, the first series would be the 5th Wave series. 2 months of my life wasted in those 3 books. The second book I would throw in the fire would be Allegiant, mainly because the book is nothing but a gigantic info dump, and it's like, it's so much of an info dump that I can't even really remember what all happened in the book. It was all just a blur, and a boring blur at that. So, if it had to be thrown in the fire, I wouldn't miss it. And then the third book, which I'll probably catch a lot of hate for, is Pride and Prejudice, because I read that book 3 times. And I even saw the play on it in the movie, and I tried my hardest to like this book, and I couldn't do it. It's like I only have 2 books with a 1-star review, and Pride and Prejudice is one of them. I mean, it's not like I started reading the book and then I took so long to read it that I didn't like it. No, I mean, the first time I read the book, I read it in like 2 weeks. Second time I read it took a week. Third time I tried it, it only took 2 days. And it didn't matter how fast I read the book, I just didn't like it. I mean, The 5th Wave is the only other book that I gave a 1-star rating, and I liked it more than I liked Pride and Prejudice. So, I really didn't like Pride and Prejudice at all. Number 3 is bashing all rom-com movies. Trashy books you love to hate. Now, at the top of this list is the 5th Wave trilogy, because I really can't stand the 5th Wave trilogy. The only other book I could think of to go on this list is The Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight by Jennifer Smith, because I've loved pretty much all of her books that I've read except for that one. But when I really think about it, I don't love to hate any books. I would actually prefer to just go into every book and just come out loving it. But that sadly doesn't happen all the time. Number 4 is Single and Loving It. A book or series that you broke up with. Now, I really don't have an answer for this because if it's like breaking up, like you DNF'd the book or the series like partway through it, then I've actually never done that. If it's like a book that at one point you loved and then you slowly had a very change in mindset and just came to hate it. At the top of my head, I cannot think of any book or series like that. Usually if I like the book, I continue to like it for a very, very long time. I mean, I even have a lot of adult books that I read throughout high school, and it's just like more books in the series have come out and I've just haven't picked them up. But that doesn't mean I've broken up with the series, because I do plan to pick them up at one point or another. So really, I have no answer for this one. Number 5 is Be Your Own Valentine. Favorite independent woman character. And I didn't really feel like this should just be about female characters, so I'm going to be adding a couple of male characters into this too. First off, the female characters. The first character I want to talk about is Kyoko from Skip Beat, and this girl went through a big breakup, even though it technically couldn't be considered a breakup since he didn't consider them dating. But it was very heartless what he did, and what he did ended up turning her into a very vengeful, love-hating person. Not hating as in she hates everything to do with love in general. It's like she loves her relatives, or who she sees as relatives. She loves her friends and stuff like that. It's just romantic love she has a problem with. And at the beginning of this, she really wants to get revenge on this guy, so she joins the acting business so she can become more famous than him. And I'm not really sure what her revenge plans were besides that. But she actually quickly comes to love the acting business, and revenge is kind of blown out of her mind until she's reminded of it, and then she's very adamant about getting revenge again. But throughout all of this, she's a very independent and hardworking person. She's always thinking of others and how she can help them, and it doesn't matter if it's something that's literally impossible to do. She will try her hardest to accomplish this, and if she doesn't accomplish it, then she beats herself up about it and uses it to make herself stronger. Next I have Ren from Reboot, and this is one of those few series where the female protagonist is 10 times stronger than the male protagonist. Ren also is one of those characters that in the beginning she doesn't see romance as a necessary aspect of life until Callum kind of cracks open her shell, and it just evolves from there. And the last two girls I can think of is Katie from Illuminate and Hannah from Gemina. These two girls are so badass, and Gemina has a little bit more of a romantic aspect than Illuminate did. Well, really, they both have a romantic aspect to them, but both of these girls had to go through so much and do so much just to survive that it's crazy. And even though I didn't really agree with everything that Hannah was doing, especially the drug aspect, she's still a really badass character. Next up, I want to talk about the male independent characters. The first one being Ritsuka from the Loveless manga series. Now, Ritsuka is in elementary school, I believe, but he has had to go through so much. This book should, I don't know if it actually does come with an abuse warning, but it really should, because Ritsuka is living in a very abusive household, and it all started with the death of his brother. And it's not like he should have to deal with this on his own, because it's like he goes to school covered in bandages every day. It's like any normal school system, at least the school systems I've been a part of, will call the cops if you show up to school in the kind of condition he showed up in. I know that from personal experience. They will call the cops. So I do not understand why he has to deal with this on his own, but he does. And he does it in a very grown-up way. And what makes it even sadder is after all the abuse started, I don't want to call it like a split personality, because I think split personality is like you actually have two personalities coming on at the same time, like both fighting for control, and that's kind of not how this is. It's like who he was before the abuse started is like locked away, not even a part of him anymore. Like he has like permanent amnesia from his time before all that, and all he can remember is the abuse. He remembers like the basic stuff like reading, writing, and some vague memories of his brother, I believe. It's been a long time since I've read the series. But otherwise, it's like who he was before the abuse started is completely locked away, not a part of him anymore. And left in its place is a very smart, stubborn, and very independent person. The other male characters I'm not going to talk a lot about because they're very popular book characters that everyone should know about by now. First one is Thomas from the Maze Runner series. Then we got Percy Jackson. Then Will Herondale, Jace Herondale. And truthfully, you can say anyone from Cassandra Clare's world is considered independent because 9 times out of 10 there's no adult there at all to supervise. And they're all used to just doing whatever they feel is right. Number 6 is romantic love is not the only kind of love. Favorite book friendships. 3 came to me right off the bat. The first one being Harry, Ron, and Hermione. Yes, Ron and Hermione do get into a relationship in the final book, and same with Harry and Ginny, but it's like that's the final book. There's still 6 books before that where they're not in a romantic relationship at all. The second set of friends would be Percy, Annabeth, and Grover. And like with Harry, Ron, and Hermione, Percy and Annabeth do get into a relationship later on, but they still have the best and funniest relationship I've ever come across. Then last but not least, there's the relationship between Thomas, Newt, and Minho. And I'm not going to talk about that very much because I'm already tearing up thinking about Newt, so I just need to move on to the next question. Number 7 is eat all of the chocolate, ice cream, candy, and pizza. All 4 things I will not be eating because I'm on a diet. But this is our best comfort reads. Like, what do you read when you just need to be happy? Now, my first one would be My Life with the Walter Boys by Ali Novak. That book is so good, and it's one of those books that I could just read at any point in time, whether I'm in the mood for it or not. I would also consider pretty much any manga to be a comfort read for me because it's like usually if I'm in a mood, like I just don't want to even leave my room kind of mood, I don't want to deal with people, and I don't want to deal with family, I will more than likely either read a manga series or I'll read fan fiction. Then number 8 is invite people to your Anti-Valentines Day bash. So tag some people. I'm not actually going to tag anybody to do this tag because I know a lot of people like Valentine's Day even if they are single. So if you want to do this tag, then feel free to do so. But I'm not going to tag anybody specific to do it. Well, that's the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you had a fantastic Valentine's Day. Until next time, bye!